What's up fellas, Moon here. It's no secret that WoW PvP has had its issues, which compounded over the past month has led to droves of players quitting the game, either until next season or entirely outright. Rather than complaining about the specific issues such as MMR deflation, solo shuffle queue times, or the copious amount of demon hunters we've seen the entirety of season 3, I'm going to instead talk about the game in a developmental lens and talk about what I would do to fix PvP if I were in Microsoft Blizzard's shoes. This is because I believe the situation PvP is in has gone past just a game dev responsibility and is instead a result of a terrible business strategy Blizzard seems to have gone with, as these issues are not far off from bleeding into the PvE scene as well. With that out of the way, let's get right into it. So, to start, WoW PvP suffers from insane levels of neglect. Players consistently provide feedback on the state of the game in various outlets, whether it be on the community forums, Twitter, Reddit, YouTube, Twitch, or any other medium of information sharing. Players have made it loud and clear as to what the issues affecting PvP are. Blizzard's response? Nothing. Here, take a look at all the recent PvP changes for the retail version on the entire first page of Blue Tracker. Yup, that's it. So, in begging for class balancing, solo shuffle to be reworked or balanced, solo shuffle queue times to be looked at, the healer role as a whole to be looked at, or sufficient and consistent changes to MMR over the past several months, we get, in return, a single bug fix to a brawl that appears once every 8 weeks or so. In fact, if you go on Blue Tracker and sort by PvP, you'll see that the last blue post made by Blizzard was in December of last year. December 16th. It is March 1st at the time of making this video. We've gone over 2 months with no changes, and at this rate we're probably not going to see any changes until Season 4 starts, and no major changes until the War Within releases. For dedicated and active players in the PvP community, it's frustrating and heartbreaking to not only have no changes, but also have no communication to if changes are coming anytime soon. While the response from most seems to be to vent our frustration at the PvP devs, that leads me to my next point, being that PvP developers no longer exist within WoW. It's been confirmed that as of current, there is a singular developer who works on PvP in retail, and that developer only works in PvP as a part-time responsibility amongst other responsibilities. You would think that if a company as large as Blizzard can invest $2 million into their esport events, with the Arena World Championship being one of them, that they would think to have full-time developers who dedicate all their time making PvP as great as possible. However, that isn't the case. Really, it's a horrible business model if you think about it for a bit. If the Arena World Championship is one of your major events that you want to broadcast out for public consumption, then realistically you would want to get as many players tuning into that event as possible. From that event, you would want to get spectators excited about the game and make them want to play the game they're watching on the broadcast. Due to the nature of Arena's high barrier to entry, the majority of AWC viewers are already Arena players. Thus, you would want a game mode to be more attractive, bring more players in, and then convert those players into active AWC viewers. The two components of events and the game feeding off each other ideally snowballs into overall growth for the game mode, more revenues and subs, and this translates into more profit to then invest back into these events to make them larger. That's an ideal world. Instead, we have a husk of a game mode which leaves the broadcast not much to go off of. I admire the hard work and passion put into the AWC broadcasts by the contractors and esports team at Blizzard, and it's an unbelievably sad situation to see them all in, knowing that things could easily be 10 times better if Blizzard decided to start giving a shit about PvP. If I was in Blizzard's shoes and had the capital to do so, here's what I would do. I would hire a team of 5 people to work on PvP full time. That team would consist of 3 developers to work on game design with approach to gameplay, the ladder, class balance, MMR balancing, etc. 1 person to work with data, analytics, web/tool design, etc. And 1 person to work on UI/UX design for events such as the AWC, as that definitely needs an overhaul, and to work with whoever does data analysis and develop an in-game guide or resource on PvP for players. People like to argue that PvP should be left to die off because not many people play it anyways. It's such a small minority of the game, it's a mini-game, etc. And I find this argument to be frankly insufficient. If Blizzard completely held that philosophy and stopped funding the AWC altogether, then I'd agree. However, I don't understand why they then consistently funnel hundreds of thousands of dollars into something like the AWC if they truly wanted PvP to die out. I think that the reason many people don't play PvP is because Blizzard has an awful cycle regarding their design philosophy for PvP, and seeing as more people are quitting PvP than beginning to play it, we can see this is evident of a self-inflicted wound into something that could have been great. Blizzard is beholden to this really strange, really weird cycle of PvP that goes like this. They half-bake a system that has potential, let's say solo shuffle in this instance. Then they do very little to no maintenance on the system, despite getting mounds of feedback about its issues which make the game unfun. Blizzard continues to do nothing about this, so players quit the game en masse. Rather than Blizzard coming to the correct conclusion of, hey, maybe our systems we put in place are unfun and need some attention to make it more fun for players, They instead come to the incorrect interpretation of players just don't want to PvP. From that conclusion, they determine that if players just don't want to PvP, that there should be less resources invested into the development of PvP, and the neglect gets perpetually worse. This leads to more people who may have had hope for the game's future to quit the game until next season rolls around, and maybe, if we're lucky, Blizzard half-bakes something new for us and the cycle continues for multiple seasons. This is a losing strategy, and at no point in the cycle do you ever get new players to play PvP or incentivize current players into trying PvP. It's caused many players, myself included, to become burned out. Many of us work full-time jobs and want to play WoW as a hobby. I love this game so damn much that I wanted to start growing my YouTube channel around it and even made a series to becoming seriously better at this game. But I'm not even sure if PvP is going to be my angle moving forward at this rate. The majority of players are burned out by the constant neglect, lack of communication, and lack of overall care for this mode many of us willingly pay $15 a month to play. It's basically a scam at this point. Unless Microsoft Blizzard makes some serious changes to their design philosophy regarding PvP, I don't foresee the future of World of Warcraft being bright. The hero talents for War Within already seem like they're going to add more convoluted variables to the game, which will become near impossible to balance, especially given the current lack of attention to balancing PvP as is. I think Blizzard's really spreading themselves way too thin here, now that there's 5 versions of World of Warcraft, and on top of that they've already confirmed that they're working on Midnight in addition to the War Within. Their resources are being spread way too thin as is, and given the recent layoffs to the company as a whole, I foresee this being a recipe for disaster. I really hope I'm wrong, and I really want to be wrong, but I can't let my love for the game allow me to turn a blind eye to the terrible state it's in. I didn't intend for this video to come across as doomer as it may sound, but the reality is that none of us can really do anything about the situation at Blizzard. Ultimately, it's up to them, and it's their decision if they're going to kill this game mode off forever, or receive the feedback well and actually start caring for PvP again. As for myself, I'm still playing PvP on retail, but not as seriously as when I was actively making the Zero to Hero series. Unfortunately, one of my teammates quit retail as a whole, leaving me basically back at square one regarding trying to pick up the pieces and make the most out of the remainder of Season 3. Despite the terrible state of the game, I will say I've had immense fun getting to meet new people, play with viewers and new acquaintances on the ladder, and get to share goofy queue sessions with other players who still love the game. I think the shared frustration is ironically something that's uniting the PvP community in ways I haven't seen other gaming communities come together before. Additionally, I've been spending time on Season of Discovery where the classic devs who actually care about the player base and communicate with the players seem to be at. I'd like to eventually get back into hosting events for the PvP community such as tournaments, war games, and solo shuffle nights, but I'll need a bit more time to pool resources together for that. Stay tuned. Until next time though, this is Moon, adding another voice to the cries for PvP, signing out.